Alright guys, let's take a look at multiplying fractions by whole numbers. Okay, so just to review how we multiply normal fractions, right, we can have 2/3 times, let's say, 3/8, and it's just simply a matter of multiplying the numerator times the numerator, so 2 times 3 equals 6, and 3 times 8, the denominator times the denominator, equals 24. Okay, and then we can go ahead and simplify, so we can divide these both by 6, and we would get a final answer of 1/4. Okay, so that's how we multiply fractions by fractions. Now, what if we were to have a whole number? Okay, so first, right, let's start off with our nice, easy example. Okay, so if I were to say 1/2 times 4, right? Okay, now, remember, we've mentioned before that another thing that we can say instead of times is the word of. So if I were to say, what's half of 4? My guess is that most of you would be able to say, well, half of 4 is 2. Okay, well, let me just show you how the math works out on that, because half of 4, or 1/2 times 4, does equal 2. So, if we're working with our number 4 right here, okay, that's a whole number, and we haven't talked about how we can multiply a fraction by a whole number. But if we remember that fractions are just another way of writing division, then we can easily write our fraction here, our number 4, as a fraction. So, 4 over 1, right, because 4 divided by 1 equals 4. So if we just write this as 4 over 1, now we have a numerator and a denominator. So you can do 1 times 4, which equals 4, and 2 times 1, which equals 2, and then we just have 4 over 2. Let me clear this out so we have a little more room to work with. Okay, so we had 4 over 2, and when we have an improper fraction, right, it's just division. 4 divided by 2, 2 goes into 4, 2 times 2 is 4, so our answer would just be 2. So that's how we multiply a fraction with whole numbers. So let's go ahead and try another one here. Okay, let's see if you can do it on your own. So let's try 5/6 times 3. Okay, now you might want to pause it here, see if you can do it on your own before we do it together. Okay, so we've got 5/6 times 3. So first step is then going to be to go ahead and turn this 3 into 3 over 1. So it's always just this number with a denominator of 1. So now we've got 5 times 3 equals 15. 6 times 1 equals 6. Okay, so we've got 15/6. And what's my last step? Okay, I've got to divide. So we're going to take 15, divide it by 6. 6 goes into 15 how many times? Okay, that would be 2 times, and 6 times 2 is 12. 15 minus 12 is 3. So I would get 2 3/6, which we know simplifies to 2 1/2. So that would be our answer there. Let's do just one more practice one to make sure we've got it. Okay, so let's do 2/5 times 5. Okay, and let's remember, right, what we're thinking about here is we're taking a fraction and we're saying, okay, I have 5 of those in this case, right? I have 2/5 and I have 5 sets of 2/5. Just like if I were multiplying normal numbers, 3 times 5 is saying I have 5 3s, right? So that would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that would be 5 sets of 3, and if we added those all up, we would get 15, and we know that 3 times 5 equals 15. So, similarly, instead of with 3, we're doing with 2/5. Okay, so if we were to do 2/5 times 5, let's just draw that out in a picture. So if I were to take, let's say, a box here and break it into 5 pieces. 1, 2. Okay, right? If I were to shade in 2 of those, that would be 2/5. Okay, obviously this isn't great drawing, but you get the point. And if we were to do that again, break it into 5ths. Okay, and again, And again, 2 more times. These aren't great drawings, but you get the point. Okay, and then 1 more. You can see here's 5 sets of 2/5. Okay, now I could go ahead and instead of having them all fill into this one, right, I could take a new square and I'd say, okay, so here's 2/5, right? I've got 2/5 there, and another 2/5 there, which would be 4/5. Another 2 would be 6/5. Another 2 would be 8/5, and another 2 would be 10/5. So if we were to draw our original drawing there, let's make some space. If we were to draw this, break it into fifths, we've got, let's get a different color in here. We've got our original 2/5, and then we're multiplying by 5, so we've got another 2/5 here, which would make it 4/5. Alright. Another, let's draw these lines. Another 2/5. 1, 2. So that's 3 times 2/5. Another 2/5 would be 4 times 2/5. And finally our last 5 times 2/5. And you notice that's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fifths. And you notice this makes 1 hole, 2 holes. So let's just do our math up here. 2/5 times 5, we put over 1. 2 times 5 equals 10. 5 times 1 equals 5. And 10 divided by 5 equals 2. So there's just how you can visually see how we are multiplying our fractions by whole numbers.